Students' Bill of Rights really could be anything. It's what we want to make of it. And it's the underlying structure that can make a Student Bill of Rights the most powerful. Right now, in our academic lexicon, we talk a lot about standards. We talk about curriculum standards, what a child is supposed to know, accountability standards, how they're supposed to test and show the information that they've learned. Opportunity to learn standards provide the structure to say these are the tools that children need in order to be able to learn the curriculum and perform on the test. A Student's Bill of Rights is an articulation of those standards and that commitment to our children. In order for students to have the best opportunity and the greatest outcome for their education, they need to have basic inputs. Inputs as simple as time. If you have a day in the life of a student that doesn't have adequate instruction time, they don't have the opportunity to learn. If you don't have up-to-date textbooks, they're not learning the material that they need in a present modern sense. They need to have the foundation to be able to go into the education. So early childhood education is a critical component to making sure that the foundation is laid for children to be able to fully take advantage of the educational opportunities that are afforded to them. So when we talk about these nuts and bolts, when we talk about the very basic inputs, we're talking both at the instructional level for the individual student to have those opportunities, but as well as the institutional level. What's the environment that a school should provide? What are the securities that the state should make sure are a part of that education? So those nuts and bolts can be anything that they want them to be, but the education research shows that particular components really have the greatest outputs. Having a solid curriculum, having assessments that's fair and authentic. Don't test a student on something they haven't been taught. That is how we can make sure that we're truly looking at education in a way that we want those outputs at the end of the day. It's not just about seat time. It's not just about having students in a classroom that looks good. It's about what happens at the end. What are the outcomes? What is it that we want our students to be able to do, and how do we make that happen? The achievement gap is, when we talk about it in its most basic sense, we're talking about a sustaining, persistent gap in the test scores between, most commonly, Caucasian students and African American students. We talk about the black-white achievement gap. That gap also exists for other minority students. And when we really break it down into its most detailed analysis, what we really find is it's a matter of economic opportunity. It's highly correlated to race, but that is because race is highly correlated with socioeconomic status, particularly in the South. And because of that, we find that over time, white students are able to consistently perform better on these end-of-course assessments. So if I were to have my dream world, somebody would read this report and they would say, oh my gosh, Arkansas has made a commitment through Lakeview to put dollars into the funding formula, but it takes more than money. It takes more than committing to a per-pupil funding formula. It's not just about how much a student gets for their head for being in the seat. It's about how to really maximize the efficiency of those dollars. And our funding formula is currently based on demographic kind of inputs, not on the academic quality of what we want to get from each of these things. And so I would say that the dream vision would be that our legislators and our agency heads really use this as a guiding force to say, how can we all come together and collectively create this step by step? This is how we're going to achieve our goals. And I think that it's hard for political leadership to balance the advocacy role and the policy role. And I understand that they're different. It's a luxury for me to be able to advocate passionately for something and recognize that people have different policy outcomes that they're looking for. But a Student Bill of Rights absolutely articulates that commitment, and it advocates for the positive outcomes for children, and our leaders have the opportunity to design policy in such a way that it makes that commitment clear.